Hello everyone and welcome to another Thomas video. So today we're taking a look at Reanimator deck in Thomas format. So with the avatar set, the meta is just going to completely shift into something entirely different. So I took a little bit of a break and here we are with potentially a new tier 1 deck, which is the Reanimator. So what has changed with the avatar set? Well, we have a few new cards that makes the Reanimator into something very consistent. And they are Entomb, which was recently banned in Legacy format, and we also have 4 copies of Mystical Tutor in the deck. Now, you might be thinking Mystical Tutor, but that's a card disadvantage. So I'm not really sure how good the Mystical Tutor is going to be because of that, but the Mystical Tutor does bring some very cool things to this deck. Now in Timeless format, we don't really have any Reanimate spells that are Timeless playable other than Reanimate, because we have cards such as Life and Death, which is basically overcosted Reanimate, and it also hurts your life total when you cast it. And the other spell that we have is Necromancy, which is a 3-mana spell, and that is extremely expensive. So basically what the Mystical Tutor is doing is it's going to become our 5th to 8th copy of a Reanimate, potentially. So it's going to give you that consistency in being able to tutor for the Reanimate, or the Mystical Tutor can even grab something like an Entomb. So if you have a Reanimate already in your hand, you can Mystical Tutor and then put something into the graveyard by fetching an Entomb. Other applications the Mystical Tutor provides for the deck is the ability to Brainstorm and Troll up Cause of Doom. So what I mean by that is, if you fetch a Surveil land into a Brainstorm, and then put a Reanimate target on top of the deck, and then you put a card into the graveyard with the Surveil, and then on your upkeep, or if you have a spare mana, you can Mystical Tutor, grab a Reanimate, and then reanimate that creature onto the battlefield. Otherwise, you can also do it with the Troll of Cause of Doom as well. On turn 1, if you have a Mystical Tutor and Troll of Cause of Doom, you can cycle the Troll into grabbing a swamp, and on your upkeep before you draw, you cast a Mystical Tutor, grabbing a Reanimate, and then you can reanimate the Troll on that turn. So as you can see, Mystical Tutor is very, very good for that purpose because of the ability to cast this at an instant speed. So what other cards do we have that we can reanimate other than Grief, Troll of Cause of Doom, and Aatroxa? Well, because of the nature of the Mystical Tutor being able to tutor for an Entomb, the deck can be used as kind of a toolbox as well. And because of this nature, we can even play something like a Valgavoth in the main board, which is a very good card to hate out opponent's graveyard. Or you can even reanimate something like Iona, which is a very, very insane hate piece, which can also shut down things like Show and Tell, or even Energy. Because if you Mystical Tutor for an Entomb and then put the Iona into the graveyard and then reanimate, you can choose a color and your opponent can't cast spells of the chosen color. Against a Show and Tell, you can call blue and opponent can't cast any of the blue spells. Or against an Energy, if you call white, 90% of the deck can't be cast with the Iona down on the battlefield. So this is a really, really strong hate piece that now the Reanimator has. And one more card to talk about, we have another hate card in the sideboard, which is this card called Serra's Emissary. And this is especially powerful against Belcher. Reanimate this card against a Belcher, you can just call Artifact, and all of a sudden you have a protection against Artifact, which is basically game winning. And last but not least, we got another card from the Avatar set called the Force of Negation. So now we even have the means to protect our reanimate creatures, which is a bonus in itself. So now we have that consistency, and we can also protect our creatures with the Force of Negation, which is absolutely insane. Now, all of these cards, Mystical Tutor, Entomb, and Force of Negation, they are available with the Avatar art if you so desire, but the original art from the Power Cube is also available, so you can also just craft those instead. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to try this deck out. So instead, I'm gonna be hopping over to some Thomas Special 3 to show you guys what the deck does. So let's hop on over. All right. We got a pretty mediocre hand, I think. Double Grief. Yeah, I think this is a mulligan. We have a turn 1 Oh, we could go cycle the troll, reanimate the troll next turn, and then we have a force of negation and a psychic frog. That doesn't. Oh no, by the way, we have to actually bottom something. I guess then I have to bottom a grief because I have to hold up force of negation, troll. Yeah. Sounds good. Chrome Mox. Maybe I should have actually countered that. An ancient tomb. Okay, I'm gonna try to... I'll just force negation this. A grief, you say? So, what do I do? I mean, I can play a Psychic Frog and then leave up a grief here. A Fatal Push, huh? Okay, fine. Looks like we're trying to win with the Reanimate here. I might also steal something good with this, so... So they had a Sheoldred. Can I beat a Sheoldred? I certainly can't beat a One Ring. Sheoldred, huh? That's a rough one, actually. Maybe I steal Sheoldred. And then reanimate the Sheoldred because they have a One Ring. That's probably a lot better. Nice. Okay, so this is a Golgari mid-range. I'll have double Thoughtseize, double Fatal Push. I'm gonna just get rid of a Ponder here. That does also make my Force Negation pretty bad. So we have to take into account like our blue cards. Opponent's probably gonna get rid of all the Fatal Pushes, so maybe like something like Bowmaster could be good, maybe. I'll slot in 2 Barrogoyfs and Iona. Iona could be insane. Maybe I don't want Thoughtseize in this matchup. I'll just cut a copy of an Aatroxa, sure. I reinstalled my client, so it's giving me tips. I also need to like... probably do these. Alright, so we have a Force of Negation, but... is that good enough? Opponent kept all of their hands. By keeping this, I'm basically keeping a 6-card hand. Because I get to Force of Negation. It's probably not that good, but... I kinda regret not keeping the first hand. Not gonna lie. Yep. Yeah, I'm regretting it pretty hard. I think I'm just going to, thought about it. I thought about it. I did think about it. So I'll probably get rid of Worry Zongar here. Reanimate. After I kill the Worry Zongar, that is not where you want to be. So I have a land there. Aatrox, well, Aatrox is not gonna do anything here. I could use a Force of Negation with the Aatroxa though. Reanimate's kind of useless right now. Wow. Another Deathray Shaman, sure. So, there could be an Orcish Bowmaster, but I am kind of desperate. So... I might just have to use the Brainstorm. Regardless of what opponent has. I think I need to keep that land in case I, top deck like a Baragoyf or something. The attack of the Deathray Shaman. Yep. I think I'll just Brainstorm. So Entomb is useless. Troll is kind of useless at the moment. Mystical Tutor. I think this Mystical Tutor is a little bit late for us to Baragoyf next turn. Because I would have to go Mystical Tutor, grab a Demonic Tutor, and then Demonic Tutor the following turn to grab the Baragoyf, but there's already 3 Deathray Shamans on the battlefield. And there's that Baragoyf opponent also has. So what would be the best card to draw next turn? I guess there's not really much. I think I die if I go Mystical Tutor into Demonic Tutor. So maybe the only way I can win is to just top deck a Baragoyf. I wouldn't say we're gonna win, but we would potentially have a chance. Alright. Deathray Shaman's very pesky. Maybe I need to like pivot towards like a mid-range. Maybe a Voidwalker as well. Instead of these. Give that a shot. I do wonder, like, a hand like this, it's just like so slow and I don't know. But against like a graveyard hate heavy hand, it could be enough. This is a very, very safe hand, you know? A Barragoy. Wow, they still have a fatal push. Oh. That is actually a pretty nice one. I don't think I can do this brainstorm trick. Maybe I can. It's a grief though, which is like whatever. I could try to set up for an Entomb. It might be a little bit late though. We'll see. Yeah, it's a bit late, but it could be enough, you know? We'll see. Alright, so we have a strip mine. I will say these were not the greatest hits, but opponent surrenders anyways. Because it was only 3 hits, right? What would I have grabbed? Strip mine to get rid of the Entomb, but they... Oops, I accidentally left there. Okay, so we have a Reanimate, but... with the Mystical Tutor, but we actually don't have a discard spell, but we do have a Brainstorm though. Question is, do I have to grief now? I might actually have to. Alright, so what is this? Okay, board wipe. Exile spell, brainstorm, counter spell, Narset. I'll take away... I'll be mystical tutoring for a Reanimate, right? I'll just take away the counter spell. You know, I could brainstorm now and then tutor on my upkeep. Maybe that's actually better. Okay, so we actually didn't get anything too crazy here. I think I want to keep the land. So we'll grab a reanimate. Draw. I want to keep the land because I want to keep the pressure going with the Brazen Bee. March. March is annoying. So I want to take the Ponder because my opponent's kind of brainstorm locked until they brainstorm again and potentially find a fetch land. So now we're kind of in like an aggro mode. Another Entomb. Another Entomb. This could be like a counter spell. I think I'm gonna try to pressure my opponent here. Oh yeah, they have that remand. Okay, that's acceptable. Ooh, a strip mine. That's really good for pressuring our opponent's life total. I guess I'll just cast it now. Narset.
My prowess is on keep an open mind.
Another remand.
Still have much to learn.
I'll keep this land for now. A board wipe. Hey, I get to draw a card. Maybe I shouldn't have actually played it. You know? You know, maybe I should be using the Entomb though. So I don't draw into them. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. A treasure cruise. I'll force out the remand now. So opponent taps out. I think I misplayed this game. I shouldn't have played out the Brazen Bee. I did see the board wipe on when I first griefed, but I thought maybe they like shuffled it away. I need my opponent to like take a bite or something. I'm doing this so I don't like draw into them. But maybe a fool's errand. The fact that opponent also plays counterspell kind of worries me. Maybe they have like mana drain as well, you know? Because I see another Force of Negation, I'll play another land. Speaking, actually, we can't even reanimate anymore, right? Because of our life total. So maybe this is a loss. Yeah, maybe this is a loss. Yeah, definitely reanimating a grief, not as good as just having like an Aatroxa or these cards down. Alright, we won Thoughtseize in this matchup. I definitely misplayed. I shouldn't have played the Brazen Bee. That was definitely a misplay. I mean, although opponent did have a targeted removal for the grief with the March of the Otherworldly Light, so I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Alright, we are now on a mid-range plan. Get rid of all these card disadvantage. Might even cut a copy of it Entomb. Go with that. Okay. Looks pretty good. I actually, maybe I don't even use these. Use the Ponder. Because I have... Yeah. So I don't use the Ponder. That's a good surveil. And I'll just... Bowmaster here into holding up a Force of Negation. I'll do the same with the Baragoyf. Yeah, all of a sudden, we're not a Reanimator, we're just a mid-range. Okay, get lost, we're okay with that. Treasure token. I'll play this out. Brainstorm. Change a non-land card in your hand into perpetually having a flash. That's pretty strong. I could have countered that, but opponent surely has a board wipe, right? Ooh, these are really good cards. I kind of want another Brazen Bee, but I don't know. Two, three, four, five, six. Since this could be a spell pierce. Very, very nice. It was a brainstorm. Alright, GG's. Unless they play like Solitude. Bowmaster. Very nice. Okay, so that worked out. What if I reanimate this, by the way? Don't I just win? Opponent can't cast a white color spell. Unless they have a bounce spell, but... Yeah, maybe the trick is just getting rid of the Entomb against this kind of matchup. This is so slow, but... We have a Grief. Force of Negation into a Strip Mine. Maybe it's okay. Like, we'll draw into something. Oh, wow. Interesting. This is most interesting. I think I'm going to pass here. We don't have to worry about like opponent thought seizing me, so I think this play can come anytime we want. Unless they have like double counter spells. But we have a Strip Mine for that. So I want to surveil. See if I can find something. Ponder? Ponder's good. Into a Thoughtseize. Do we want to top deck double Thoughtseize? Oh, I can Thoughtseize myself. Okay, this is actually... So, okay. If I top Thoughtseize, I Thoughtseize this turn. Opponent counter spells, probably. Next turn, I Thoughtseize myself. Get rid of a Aatroxa. Is that gonna work? But then they could hold on to... Okay, sure. I'll take it. Decline. Unless I... Can I Thoughtseize next turn? Can I Thoughtseize next turn? I can, right? Because I can Grief away the Thoughtseize and then Thoughtseize myself, which will give me enough mana to Strip Mine, Reanimate, right? Oh, wow. Isn't this okay? Opponents, yeah, that's okay, right? Even if they have a Force of Negation, we can just Thoughtseize.
I have just the trick for this.
Okay, so let's start with a grief. Unless I want to go Thoughtseize, reanimate. I can't do that because I have a strip mine and an island. Almost made a mistake. So we'll grief here. Looks like they're relying on the source of plowshare. Get rid of that. Alright, so we probably want reanimate, land, Entomb, and potentially a Psychic Frog to protect our card here. Since we have a Force of Negation. I'll just strip mine their land. Oh wow, immediately drew it. Wait. Opponent? Opponent?
Meditate and prepare.
Opponent just threw the game. They just threw the game there. Oh my god. They actually placing into stupor, so even if I go Iona... Huh. Do I have to hit the Narset? I probably do. I have 8 spells that draws. Wait, opponent.
I was not prepared for this.
Now, why would you do that? Why would you do that? So I could go Iona, call Blue. And they can't cast a Sing into Stupor on the Atroxa. Or I can just reanimate the Grief here. So even if they top deck... Okay, we'll do it like this. So we'll Grief. Get rid of the Sink into Stupor. Demonic Tutor. Do I Demonic Tutor now? Why would I Demonic Tutor? I think I'm just gonna pass. I was gonna Demonic Tutor for maybe a Strip Mine. But if they top deck a removal spell, then it's kinda bad for me. You know, like this. So we'll put Iona in there. Demonic Tutor for a Reanimate. Your opponent can't cast spells of the chosen color. We'll call white. And let's hope that they don't have another bounce spell. Alright, close game. Close game. Boom, boom. It's my last turn. They can't cast a white spell right now. Wait, opponent. I guess they would have just died if they casted that. Since they're only gonna have one blue source, right? So they would just die no matter what. Okay. We'll try to reanimate the troll here. We troll. I guess grab another Watery Graves for better mana base. I do have to shock though. And we do go to 9. Exploration. This looks like potentially like a Dark Depths kind of deck, so I think I'm just going to counter that. We'll get rid of the Ancient Tomb there. Okay, so I'm gonna have a Voidwalker versus a Strip Mine. And Surgical as well. Maybe a Baragoyf, I don't know. And the Fatal Push. Iona against the green. Probably not. I'm gonna take away 3 Ponders. I think the like a copy of a Brazen Bee is okay. Maybe the Grief is kind of bad though. I have to cut 4 cards actually. I'm gonna cut Baragoyf. I think the Voidwalker is good enough in terms of like hating out opponent's graveyard. I think I'm gonna cut 2 Mystical Tutors for card disadvantage. Alright, so looks like we got a troll hand again. I'm not sure if I wanna reanimate the troll though. Once upon a time. Okay, that's kind of scary. Exploration, that's even more scary. Into a Thespian stage. Into a Thespian stage. Instead of reanimating the troll, I think I'm actually just going to grief here. They have a Dark Depths. They have a Dark Depths and Thespian Stage. Oof. That's actually kind of scary. So now they can make Dark Depths going to become a creature next turn, which is like, oh no, what do I do? I guess I lost. I guess I lost. Okay, so this is not a land and a permanent, so we actually want Brazen Bee. Sure. Let's try that again. Okay, excellent hand. I should have actually insta-kept, because it actually gives opponent information. I should have just kind of looked at my hand a bit, you know? Entomb. So I can even go Entomb into Reanimate, like something like a Valgaboth, maybe? Is that better? Is a Valgavoth better or Aatroxa better? I think Aatroxa slightly better. Because this can give me a Brazen Bee, which it didn't. Alright, opponent goes away. Alright, so this was the first day of testing the Reanimator, Mystical Tutor / deck. We got to see almost every card except the Valgavoth. So this is like a graveyard hate in, a really large body at the same time. So we have a Valgavoth here. You kind of want this card against other decks that have a lot of graveyard shenanigans, such as like a mirror match or, opponent playing Reanimate as well. This can be pretty good. Aatroxa, obviously just a really good card. So we're playing 2 copies of it. And we have a copy of an Iona, which actually came out against a blue-white control deck. All of these cards came out. Troll came out actually more than I'd like. And we also got to see a lot of like Troll plus Reanimate and Mystical Tutor shenanigans, which actually functioned very well together. Post sideboard can be a little bit finicky, depending on like how many like graveyard hates opponent could have. Potentially, you might want to like pivot towards like a mid range, get rid of a Mystical Tutor, get rid of like some copies of Entomb, and just have like a lot of like Thought Seizes, Fatal Push, Brazen Bee, Orcish Bowmasters, and Baragoyf. That's basically our B plan. I don't know how popular the Dark Depths is going to be, but we did play against the Dark Depths deck. Potentially against the Dark Depths, you might want to consider like Disruptor Flute in the sideboard. But considering that Brazen Bee, the Dark Depths creature, becomes a non-land permanent, Brazen Bee can actually bounce it. So maybe you don't even need a flute, right? And like against the Show and Tell opponent and Belcher opponent, you just want to reanimate the Iona from Mystical Tutor into an Entomb, or Entomb into Iona, into reanimating this creature, which says, as Iona enters, choose a color. You just have to call blue against that deck. Or against a Belcher deck, you bring a copy of a Sarah's Emissary to name artifacts so that you have a protection against an artifact, right? That's my sideboard. Potentially, this deck, the sideboard could be missing maybe like a Sheoldred's Edict, and instead of like a Baragoyf, but Baragoyf did come in handy versus a blue-white control deck, so there you have it. This was a Reanimator / Mystical Tutor deck. The Mystical Tutor works okay to some extent because we only have 4 copies of Reanimate, but basically kind of treat the Mystical Tutor as like, another 4 copies of Reanimate. So yeah, that is gonna be it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye bye.